Hello everyone, good morning. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 3B. I am Riddhi Goel, moderator of this session. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and Knowledge Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it is my great pleasure to welcome in 7th International Conference on ICT for Sustainable Development. We hope you will enjoy knowledgeable and interactive session through the day. Also, there is one special note for the all presenter. You will be given 8 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for the question answer. So please be stick to the time limit. Also, there is one request to all. Please stay connected with us till the closing remarks. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce to all our chair of this session, Professor Latika Desai. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Riddhi. Hello,
Yeah.
Riddhi, ma'am.
Professor Latika Desai is a HOD. Is a HOD in a Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Engineering and Innovation, Valley, Pune, India. She is working as a faculty since 2001. She has a total 24-year of experience in teaching. She has published 29 papers in various journals like Web of Science, Finger, International Journals, and conferences. And her area of interest is also digital electronics, data security, and embedded system. So, ma'am, with your consent, can we start our session?
Yes, you can.
We invite our first presenter, Divya Sharma, and he is going to present a paper titled Security Techniques Implementation on Big Data Using Steganography and Cryptography.
Excuse me, ma'am, can I share my screen?
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Good morning, everybody. And my name is Divya Sharma. I will be presenting my paper, which is basically security techniques implementation on big data using steganography and cryptography. My co-author is Ruchika Vatra ma'am, who is also my guide in PhD. And I'm a PhD student at Skara University, currently doing assistant professorship in USSGRC Hoshiarpur. So first of all, what is multimedia data? Digital data.
Hello, sorry, Divya.
Yeah.
Can you please make a full screen?
Yeah, it is a full screen, I think.
No, it is not visible as a full screen.
Okay.
Divya, you make slideshow.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I've started sharing from stop sharing. I will start sharing again because it is there's some problem. Now it is visible. Let me just try.
Yes.
Yes. Now it should be. Yes. Okay. Yeah. What is let's start off with what is digital data. Digital data is basically electronic data. It can be divided into digital images, digital audio, video, and text. The image is basically consisting of pixel, which is basically examples of .png, .jpeg. Audio data is basically .avi, which is basically composed of audio signals or speech signals. Video data is consisting of both images in the form of frames and audio. So it is basically of the format .mp4, and text is basically your digital alphabets typed into a document, Word document, DOC or PDF. Now we will study big data. Big data has come into concern because currently every data is being saved, has exceeded the amount of original saving. So big data is known for these 5 features. This is basically 5 characteristics. That is, first is velocity, that is speed of generation of data. Second is volume, the amount of data, and variety, that is heterogeneity, variation of data. Veracity, that is trustworthiness of the big data, and value, the business value of the collected data. Variability, the way with which big data can be used. Information hiding techniques are classified into 3 types, that is cryptography, data digital watermarking and steganography. All these techniques are applied on text, images, audio, and video. Now, cryptography is the process of converting a plain text into ciphertext. It consists of two processes, encryption and decryption. Both these processes, cryptography is basically used to perform to implement five such properties, that is authenticity, integrity, non-repudiation, confidentiality, access control, and availability. So authenticity is only authorized user can give access to the message. Integrity is ensuring that only unauthorized user can access the message. Non-repudiation is user cannot refute from the claim of sending the message. Confidentiality, once the authentic user has sent the message, it has not been modified. Access control, only the authentic user can access the message. Availability, the authorized user should be able to freely access the resources without interruptions and services. Few of the application of cryptography is banking, military, data source, e-commerce, email, certificates, authentication, data privacy, secrecy, integrity, electronic mail, time stamping, and WhatsApp social messaging sites. These are the few differences between the two techniques that are for implementing cryptography. There is symmetric key cryptography and asymmetric. Asymmetric uses two types of keys, that is one at the sender end and the second at the user end, decryptor end. And the symmetric key uses the same key, so that's why it is basically has one key. That one key is used to encrypt and decrypt the message. So the speed of encryption for symmetric key is faster as compared to the asymmetric key. Security is guaranteed by symmetric is confidentiality, and asymmetric is confidentiality, authenticity, and non-repetition. Sources utilization are low in symmetric and high in asymmetric. Examples of symmetric is AES and DES, while asymmetric is ECC and DSA. Implementation is easy and complex. Old techniques are used for symmetric and new techniques are used for asymmetric. Bulk data is usually applied with symmetric, and small and important data are basically encrypted with asymmetric. The size of encryption increases in symmetric while the size remains the same in asymmetric. This is asymmetric is not as efficient as symmetric. Easy to understand, symmetric is easy to understand, while asymmetric is not easy to understand. So these are the few of the papers that I have gone through to find out the currently popular techniques that are being used. This is a blockchain Shamir threshold cryptography for data protection for industrial Internet of Things of Smart City, presented by TAN ETL and in 2021. The performance steganography using Shamir secret sharing algorithm. This basically uses the Shamir algorithm, and it ensures the confidentiality, and blockchain ensures the this one. The security model for this paper, the security model for preserving the secrecy of medical big data in a cloud using a fog computing facility with pairing-based cryptography. Al-Hamid et al. In 2017 implemented illusion-based cryptography technique combining the bilinear pairing function and bilinear Diffie-Hellman problem and elliptical curve Diffie-Hellman, that is ECDCH, for medical big data in fog computing, cloud computing environment. The resulting was the key size used for the measurement is a bit and has no impact on the performance. Execution time of RSA is 10 times slower than ECC. ECC achieves the same security as RSA, but uses less memory. Advantages ensure security of the patient in medical data, and it also connects between the two parties for a key exchange. Limitations is basically it decoy seems to visibly that it is visibly seen that it is a bit decoy data, and secondly it is basically available elliptical curve for pairing based data is basically has two options for choosing, so this makes it complicated. Now the third paper is scalable and secure big data IoT system based on multi-factor authentication and lightweighted cryptography. Advai at ETL 2021 implemented the combination of facial schema and RC6 and AES XOR cryptography algorithm on cloud data. Better security than other encryption algorithm, it consumes less time. Its key size is basically 102 bit, which is basically maximum security it guarantees, and encryption time is also less. While some of the disadvantages are, it is basically stored data in the raw form. It looks more malicious. It enhance and also enhances the mutual authenticity between gateway and IoT, and authentication verification, and provides high security by gateway devices. Next paper is cryptography and big data implement current status, challenges, and opportunity. Here, Rabel and Martis in 2020 performed adversarial neural cryptography on big data, found that the increase in the complexity of the data was impacted directly by the performance of the big data. Robustness against the attack, they improved, their main focus was improving efficiency, flexible schema, higher throughput and reliability. While the limitations that were mostly found were high cost of implementing complex algorithms.
Sorry for the interruption, Divya.
Yeah.
You left with the 2 minutes, so please conclude your presentation or.
Pardon me? Okay.
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay, high cost of implementation of complex data, enhancing big data security using elliptical cryptography. So Subhish, Gupta sir implemented asymmetric cryptography with a combination of Diffie-Hellman RSA elliptical curve on big data. So the relative less key size making it easy to implement, and reliability and scalability increases. ECS is more effective. It is less complex and scalable, reliable, and fault tolerance. It is very simple to implement, and its disadvantages were ECC is very small and easy to crack. Efficiency and security were basically comparatively compared theoretically. So this is RBG 25 cryptography algorithm, which is basically Rajan Prakash implementing the Raj Prakash algorithm. In this, he performed encryption decryption that is basically resistant to the increase in the algorithm at the increase in the effective authentication. It increases the security, and it basically increases the speed also, and it was tested against Chacha and AES. Neural quantum cryptography and big data, it was by Orbus.
Riddhi, go to the next slide.
Implementing quantum cryptography.
Riddhi, go to the
Yes.
next slide.
Ma'am, I cannot control your screen, screen share. So Divya, please conclude your presentation. Yeah.
Okay. So this was another paper in which they have implemented.
Divya, go to the next slide.
This one.
No, next. I want interest in your work. Yes.
Okay, this was basically found that the research objective to consider the current big data researches and examining the security solution prospect available currently in use to find out the popular languages used for the providing data security. Conclusion and future scope, it was basically found that currently there is a need for enhancing the secrecy and privacy of the big data as well as the capacity of the cover signal. So the cover signal, and for hiding the secret message, it is proposed that the steganography technique used for big data, such as resulting in stegomedia, contains detectable artifact that could be transmitted over the internet. The message stored inside the data stored should be guarantee trust and authenticity to the user. While implementing it in the existing service, the initial time for creating and storing stego signal and will be more than the time complexity will be more depending upon the size of the data set. The proposed signal should improve the complexity and space complexity and time complexity. So basically it should be it was studied the secrecy and privacy of the data should also be guaranteed in steganography. The main objective that were found for steganography were that the payload capacity and the imperishability and increasing the robustness. So there were also a need for improving the cover so that it can hide more data and it would be imperceptible for human perception, while robust to be achieve the to achieve a hidden message. The size of the data after and before encryption should also be measured and incorporated into calculating the performance of the algorithm. This size will also guarantee, and the time will also guarantee the hardness of the problem. That is, if it is hard, if it is more hard, then we cannot, if it then it cannot be solved in a real-time environment. That is basically, we want a problem that should be solvable, that should be able to perform steganography and cryptography in a real-time environment, in real space and real time. So these are all the references that I have gone through, and thank you. Thank you.
Divya, you want to increase the complexity, right? Means you have to reduce the time complexity, right?
Time and space complexity.
So how?
We can propose an algorithm which is basically hash based and which is layered based algorithm for encryption, as well as along with steganography, so that basically we improve the quality of the we improve more features, that is authenticity, integration, data hiding capacity, and robustness of the data by implementing all these algorithms into one, and making it imperceptible so that any user can understand it, but such that no meaning can be derived out of it.
You are used which platform for the implementation? Which?
MATLAB.
MATLAB. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Divya.
Thank you, Divya.
Thank you.
So our next presenter is Sheikh Jan Bhasha, and paper title is Identification of Generative Adversarial Network Forms, Open Issues and Future Study Area, a study.
Hello, good morning, madam. Am I audible, madam?
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
morning.
sir.
Yeah, is it visible, madam?
Yeah. Are you signing from the mobile, sir?
Yes, yes, madam. Because network problems are there.
Sure, no issue, sir.
So, good morning to all. This is Sheikh Jan Basha, currently working as a senior lecturer in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Assosa University, Ethiopia. So, my paper title is Identification of Generative Adversarial Network Forms, Open Issues and Future Study Areas. And this is a study paper. And these are contents of my paper. So here we are going to I'm going to discuss about the introduction part and different types of GANs and majorly training difficulties of GANs and some of the open issues and future study areas, and followed by conclusion and references. So nowadays, as we know, so after introduction of the artificial intelligence, emerging technologies are introduced to the market, and one of the emerging technologies, the generative adversarial network. So this is one of the emerging technology and the research area in machine learning from 2014 was introduced by the Ian Goodfellow. And this is again is a novel class of generative deep generative models, so which learns complex and high dimensional distributions implicitly over images, audios, and data. And this especially the GANs nowadays we are using especially in many areas, so to overcome the hazards of bogus images, which may basis enormous destruction while we are working with that one. And so here I am going to highlight some of the types of GANs, some of the problems related to the training and the research gaps. And this is an architecture of the GAN. And here, especially in the GAN architecture, we are having two multi-layer perceptron networks. So one is called as the generator, and another one is called as the discriminator. And coming to the generator, and the generator always it generates the images, especially the fake images, And these fake images which are mixed with the real images and which are given to the discriminator. And the main task of the discriminator is which is going to decide either the given image is a real image or what we call the fake image. So this is the main task of a generator as well as the discriminator. And I am a research scholar and I'm working the GAN. I'm using the GAN architecture, especially in the ECG classification. ECG classification. So this is about the GAN architecture. And some of the types of GANs. So many GANs are available. So different types of GANs. The conditional GAN is there. Shall I skip, madam? Shall I go to main topic, that is what we call challenges and like that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, madam. These are the different types of GANs, madam. Especially conditional GAN is there, vanilla GAN is there, and another one is called the DC GAN is there, CAT GAN, and or W GAN is there, PO-GAN, so SAGAN, Cycle GAN, and Pro GAN, Style GAN, Lab GAN, and AE GAN, and Info GAN, and invertible conditional GAN, Story GAN, Archi GAN. So these are the different types of GANs are there. And the main I'm going to focus on the training difficulties while we are working with the GAN, the main training difficulties. So generally the GANs, they may work with a small amount of data also, even though they are working on a small amount of data, but while we are training the GANs, we are going to face some of the training difficulties. The first difficulty is the standards for assessment. So it's a challenge to evaluate the GAN models because there is no easy way to determine whether a generated image is good or not. So generally, for the performance, to calculate the performance of the GAN, we are using a number of metrics. For example, FID, Frechet inspection distance is there, and some of the geometry score is there, GAN train is there, GAN test is there. Even though we are having a number of GAN performance measurements, but we don't have a standard measurement to uh, to uh, know to determine the generated image is good or not. So that is the main training difficulty in the GAN. And one more the major difficulty while training with the GAN is the mode collapse, that is called as the phase burst. And while we are working with the GAN, so the generator always produces same images or the small subset of training images repeatedly, and it may create the problem. And to overcome this problem, we are going to be using some mini batch standard deviation is there, and with the help of that mini batch standard deviation, we will overcome this mode collapse problem. And another major difficulty is the instability, vanishing, destabilization, and non-convergence. Coming to this one, instability. So generally, the GAN which will based on a zero-sum game. Always the generator it generates the fake images, and they are mixed with the real images and given to the discriminator. And always the discriminator it will discriminate whether it is a real or the fake image. And every time we have to make them balance to reach an equilibrium. So, but it is very difficult task to bring the generator to bring the generator and what we call the discriminator to make it an equilibrium. This is also one of the big problem. And another thing is GANs are suffering with vanishing gradients. So because the generator as well as the discriminator both are concepts based on concepts of the multi-layer perceptrons. And while we are working with the multi-layer perceptron, especially the neural networks, if the number of layers are increased, and whenever any error was happened at the output, and to give that output back to the initial layers, and there is an unstable behavior. So that unstable behavior is called as a vanishing gradient. And here, so whatever the output, the difference error is there, that output it is not given to the given to the input layers. So there, that result is vanishes. That is the vanishing gradient problem. And one more major training problem with GAN is the slow training. And while we are working with GAN, and there is a slow training problem is there. And these are some of the standard training difficulties of GANs while we are working with GANs. And some of the open issues regarding to the GANs. So GANs have demonstrated their ability to generate visual features, but they still suffer from some of the tricky of the style downfall. While we are working with some of the images, and there is a problem with a GAN style breakdown. That is called as a style breakdown. And another problem is another difficulty. GANs remain difficult to training owed to number of mutual unbalanced preparation and conjunction behaviors. So disappearing sometimes while we are working with the GAN, especially for image styles. So slopes may be disappeared, or another oscillating behavior also there. So this is what we call two major issues and future study areas. And one more problem is, so most of the studies they focused on a hypothetical investigation, but one of the major investigation topic is to develop theoretical agenda also. Theoretically, we have to implement some of the issues related to this one. Another one is optimization methodologies we have to use in a GAN to optimize the performance of what we call the determination of either the generated image is good or bad like that. This is also one of the major issue. So this is about my explanation, and the conclusion here. The conclusion here we reviewed some of the GAN architectures, and I have given some of the training difficulties and future research areas. So this is some of the references I have included in my research. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, madam.
Okay, Sheikh sir, how in the GAN, how the security can be managed? Is there any issues?
Security can be managed, madam. Managed, but I don't have any. But I am currently working on this one, ECC classification. I'm also one of the research scholar. I'm working on that one. So I'm in initial stage.
Okay, okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
we
madam.
can
Thank
move. Yeah. We are moving forward to our next presenter, Abhinav Patil, and paper title is CARSA, Smart Integrated Car Parking System. So, Abhinav, please start your presentation.
Sure. Can you see my screen? Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, hello everyone. So this is Abhinav here. Our topic is CASA Smart Integrated Parking System, and the authors with me are Yash Kenny and Richa Mishra. So to start with, why this topic? So according to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, there is a whooping growth in motor vehicle population, that is 55 million in 2001. And if you consider the 2015 situation, it is 210 million. So due to this high growth rate, parking has become integrated component of buildings and as well as roadways. Hence, it creates a requirement while planning each infrastructure. Further, what we found while studying all this, there are a few characteristics of a parking system, that is parking accumulation, parking volume, the capacity, the average parking duration, parking turnover, peak parking saturation. So these were the characteristics of a parking spot. If you consider the choice behavior model from the user front of view, that is the user sees the social, economic and environmental factors, the age, income, number, parking space availability, parking prices, accessibility seeking time, availability of guidance systems. And the third is the evaluation of parking system and its characteristics. Here, there are three aspects that the user considers, that is the safety, convenience, and the efficiency. Further, the objective of our study is to access various breakdowns and study behavior of drivers from their parking spots. We also wanted to propose a digital card dashboard interface to find and book parking spot easily and hassle-free, and also enhance the parking user experience from starting to end of the driver's journey. Further, we did some research on it. I'll just give an overview of it. The first one is that India is mostly focused on the public transport and is not focused on the private ones. And hence now it's a need to focus on private vehicles over public transport. Second, here an algorithm was also launched between for the most efficient route. This was done in foreign countries for real-time parking availability. Third was installing a manual or a digital dashboard outside the parking lots, which will show the empty parking spaces. Next, there was a GIS technology that 30% of our stay vacant, 120 to 50% of the curbside parking spaces get full. Your search time is also very important factor, because when there is a traffic congestion, 0.2% delay by every individual leads to 30% of traffic congestion in the end. And lastly, this is an environmental factor, which is the main factor. That is when drivers typically cruise for an open parking place, and the cruising procedure takes long time and can result in excessive fuel consumption and harmful pollutants, and even car accidents. So here we started our research. We had 88 subjects in all. The age group was 16 to 51 plus years. And also these were working professionals. We also interviewed 5 parking lot vendors in the city of Mumbai and Pune in the month of October and November. Here the selecting subjects, the criteria was that the subject should be a commuting guy who goes daily for a work by car only, and subjects are staying in Mumbai, Pune city. Here the methodology flow was to define, ideate, prototype, build, and in the end analyze and test the dashboard which we had designed. This is what we did for the competitive analysis. We studied various applications that are similar on our front. In India, we don't have any competitors, but the main competitors from the application side, which is shown to the user, are arrival time, departure time, space description, ratings, booking duration, service fees, photos and reviews, electronic vehicle charging, and parking indicators and prices. Second, this is the user features which the app provides to the user, that is some monthly subscription, available facilities, operating hours, selecting app for navigation. There is an e-ticket facility, there is refunding policy, add cards if we have any. Next, we focused on the contextual inquiry. Here, we actually studied what all users goes through. So this is the user journey that we assessed. We assessed various breakdowns. Here, when the user inside the mall, let's say, for example, if I enter a mall, there are 3 systems: registration book, receipt machine, no proof of parking. And when you do the payment, it goes to cash or UPI. The cash collector enters the card details, prepares receipts, give it to the user. The customer will then park. Now there are 2 breakdowns here, that sometimes the user may not get parking assistance, and he also needs to remember the parking spot in malls, which, I mean, there should be a system of tracking your vehicle inside it. Next is the vendor side. When you park outside some vendor, any local vendor, sometimes it won't be trustworthy. So this is one of the breakdowns that the user might face. Prefer as a parking lot, that is ground lot, roadside, or roadside alternate parking, elevated lots. There are even breakdowns that faces difficulty in parallel parking, or needs to check which side of the road is the parking for 12 hours in or one day. Because in Mumbai, Pune, there is a dedicated system that on this day you have to park it on the left or you have to park it on the right. Later, we studied the sequential model. Here, basically, it's when the user reaches the destination, what all breakdowns he faces. This is the entire detail charts. I won't get into much detail because there are a lot of breakdowns. So one of which I'll give an example is when the user looks for a parking spot and searches a vendor-owned parking spot, There are longer times due to illegal parking taking vendors, checks for no parking areas. If spots are available, they might leave, waits in the car and sends someone else, or park vehicle at a distance, look for some help with vendors. So this is these are the breakdowns which leads to delay in reaching the destination. Further, we analyzed, and we also, how is your daily commuting experience? Most of the users said it's bad. What time of the day they face the issue? It's mostly in the evening and in the morning. Do users are parked obstructly, unfairly, unconsiderably on load? Maximum people said yes. What time of the week does they face this issue? Is mostly on Monday to Friday. Here, why do they face this issue? People said that the cars are taking more space than necessary. Do park vehicles in your road cause you problems as a pedestrian or a non-motor? So further, what kind of parking lot do they prefer? So Maxim said lot with floors, which is one of the safest options. Do they get parking assistance? Maximum of them said no, they don't get. How far from your destination are you willing to park?
Sorry for
That
the
is 100 to
interruption,
200 meters. And
Abhinav.
how often do you
Hello.
travel? That is it sometimes on the weekend. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you left with the 2 minutes, right?
yeah. I'm already on the prototyping part.
Okay.
Final stage. Yeah. So this is the final prototype which we had, that this is the entire parking system which will be integrated inside the car. And this is how it will work. When you select a destination, it will show you parking description, what all things are there. When you click on book now, you have to select time, available spots, and select time. Then you confirm it. And then it shows you congratulations, spots has been booked. And in the end, you have to click on directions. Yeah, it will show you the direction. And yes, this is how you can track the rating system. We also did a usability testing, that is also among the users, selected user, and rated excellent because SEO score was 81. So further on the conclusion part, future scope, we wanted to intend and to expand and to resolve the present parking spots searching problem. And we plan extensively to explore and key approach for parking behavior factors. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Informative presentation, Abhinav.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to know what are the system requirement, hardware and software system requirement for your system, as well as how we can increase the effectiveness of the system. Okay.
Yeah. So there is the system known as ADAS system, which has come up in most of the cars, and it actually tracks the objects in the surrounding. So what we are doing is, right now, in future, maybe every car will have an infotainment system and an ADAS system installed in it, which will detect all the parking spots available nearby, and it also shows that this is your parking spot and here you have to park it. So this is the diagram which I'm showing right now. This is just the hardware requirement that should be there. This is the ADAS system, and software is this detecting system.
Okay, thank you. And how we can increase the effectiveness of the system?
Based on this, the effectiveness can be increased by reducing these screens which I showed you. I mean, the much smaller the screens, the much smaller the flow, the increased efficiency will be more.
Okay, thank you, Abhinav.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, Abhinav. I have one question.
Yeah.
What is the computational cost of your framework? Have you
Sorry, ma'am.
computational cost of your framework?
I mean, we didn't get into that actually, ma'am. I'm not sure
Okay.
if I can answer, but yeah, I'll research on it and I'll get back to you.
No, okay, no issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So we are moving our next presenter. Sonil Mandal, and paper title is an approach to extract major parameters of legal documents using text analytics.
Yes, ma'am. I am sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Is my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Good morning to all of you. I am Sonil Mandal, the first author and the presenter of the presentation named An Approach to Extract Major Parameters of Legal Development using Text Analytics, along with my co-author Shadif Shah under the guidance of Ms. Tamarada, Assistant Professor in Arab University. Thank you to ICT4SD organizer and company for accepting and giving the opportunity to this career. Moving on, we will study our work of introduction. In natural language processing is one of the fascinating areas in our artificial intelligence to comprehend the human language. It is widely used to address the various issues of our work. It is also utilized to pre-process the unstructured data investing with the authoritative records to help the litigations. In the major data of in legal system, which is unstructured and various sports deciphered, the legal documents by genuine distribution of the data of particular cases and getting the choice from the prospective decision and the rule of regulation. So that's why the author of this paper have focused to fabricate a text with handling procedure on authoritative reports to eliminate the undesirable text. Hence, the author of this paper had proposed an approach to process the unstructured legal document and extract the major parameters present in the legal cases. By utilizing this approach of NLP technique like the expression, bag of words, rhetorical function, sentence spelling, etc., which will help the legal professional to anticipate the proper and transmit the verdict according to the law. Let's wait for the iterative survey. Based on the time constraint, ma'am, shall I wait for 2 iterative survey among the 4 iterative survey? Ma'am?
Your voice is not clear. Can you pardon, please?
Oh, sure. So, ma'am, based on the time constraint, may I wait for 2 iterative survey based on 4 iterative survey?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So based on this 4 literature survey, I went for specific to 1 literature survey, which is computer assisted legal linguistic corpus analysis and new tool for legal studies, law and social inquiry. So actually here the author in the year 2018 by Vogel F et al. An article they published on a symmetrical empiric manner on legal judicial language, which is called corpus analysis, and introduced a computer-assisted legal linguistic method, which will emphasize the procedure and more sophisticated output from the legal documents. With the help of those corpus, lawyer can evaluate the legal semantics, language, and social schematic in the various working circle structures. In the computer-assisted analysis of OL procedures, collection of legal text, including the judiciary and legislative academic. Another legal work that I am to explain is legal AI, based on how does NLP benefit legal system, a summary of legal artificial intelligence of 2020 by Zong H et al. They proposed a future and present scope of the research using NLP. In their work, they actually work with a legal AI-based system where they make the context of the word. They want to make the semantic and Latin semantic of the word. They want to, and they for that they use the various techniques like word embedding and modeling. So with that, we export the alternative feature approaches. The author actually performed the test and provided the detailed analytics and benefit the drawback on the current activities. So based on our work, we went for our proposed methodology, where we actually went for from the zero scope. So we find out the major documents from a legal documents. So in our work, we actually went for Manupath website. From the website, we went for a specific domain which is divided. So we can wait for any legal domain. It's also work. So wait for divided. We actually wait for 8. We went for 8 PDF copies, which is downloaded PDF copies, which is actually West Bengal based. We work for various state-based dowry domain documents, which is quite properly and fine. So in our work, first we take the legal documents as a from with the help of load module, and based our module, we went for the PDF to text module. This PDF to text module, we also name the PDF reserve as a list using regular expression. Here, each data for PDFs are take for page by page wise. Each page is consist of line by line wise, and each line consists of tokens, where they collected the tokens and they merged the tokens. Then after doing that, after finding each legal domains or legal PDF which exist in 8 portion, means there's a list consists of 8 different sectors. Each and every sectors consist of entire PDF. Then we went for the pre-processing of our data. So pre-processing consists of lemmatization, token lemmatization, first of tokenization, then removal the stop words using the beautiful soft method. We also remove all the last name of the each and every name. Then we went for removal of digits. We went for removal of digits with word. We removal of the HTML tags. Then we also we held. Then after that, the data we got, we went for the lemmatization technique. So where lemmatization takes from any verbal or adjective or word is actual form. Like if it is played or it is do, did, done, then it will come to only do word. Or if the word is go and gone, then it will come to the go word. That's what lemmatization with the parameter name POV equal to V for. Then after that, we went for the frequency count, where we actually use the collection module as well as the count vectorizer module. What we do, we get the each and every PDFs, like if there's a list consists of first index, each and every index consists of multiple number of words. It's like a 2D type of. So each and every words consists of how many count it exists on the entire PDF or entire PDF. So we take that and we take the first all the words. First max to max word. So we for that's when for max count, where it takes the assembly order or higher to lower, and we take 500 words. Then we apply the outer join for each PDF. And then after applying the outer join, we get the data frame. A data frame consists of also null values. We remove the null values and also consist of lots of zeros. Like one word can exist in one PDF doesn't mean that one word is in another PDF. So on that contrary, we went for one word at least exists in one instance of other instances. So it's our resultant discussion. Based on you find out that a person word exists in multiple times in case 1 PDF, case 2 PDF, and case 8 PDF. We can take multiple number of PDF and take at least 8 PDF. So as you can see that mother word existed only one PDF, mother word doesn't exist in case 2 PDF. So we take minimum of 1, but minimum of 1. So these are the frequency metrics or the count vectorizer metrics, where we take the maximum frequent words from the lowest frequent words. And based on that, we make our visualization with a bar H plot. Bar H means horizontal visualization, where we take the most first 20 words, where each and every word expresses that how many frequent words exist based on the per period basis. Like person exists 65 number of times, is 22 number of times, and so on and so forth. This blue color expresses the first portion of the case 1. The yellow color is magenta yellow color exists almost second word how many times it exists due to that. So based on that, we conclude our work, and on that expressing the legal document, there's a fighter tone welding, the view of enabling tools of a legal professional. Now our proposed method, they extract the most dominant or essential words in the legal document. The author also proposed the algorithm to process the legal document in NLP technique, which will actually help the judges or any legal professional to find out the work. So in our contrary to our work, if we went to the limitations of work, we find out the two major parts. I will explain the resultant discussion later. So first, what you can find out that our work, our word, person, accused, or evidence, husband, dowry, these word express the frequency of the word, but frequency doesn't express the context of the sentence. Like there is a word exists intelligent among multiple number of like dumb, fool. These are the words. So intelligent and dumb both words frequency. If there's the same like two or one, there is a meaning the two words are same. No, it's not. So that's why we have to find out the dominancy of the words. So or because if there's a word consists of less time, there is a meaning that his dominance doesn't exist. But if our major motive to find out the dominancy, so that's why it's this convict term doesn't show that. Doesn't show that. So that's why in future we worked on EFID. So we have to find out the EFID of values for the drawer work. So find out the most dominant keywords. TF-ID of this term frequency, inverse document frequency, the lower the number, lower the frequency, higher the dominancy it has, or higher the frequency because the logarithmic approach is there. This is one of the major flaws. Another major flaws we find out so far is that this unigram words or single token doesn't express the context of a sentence. So person or accused doesn't explain the context of a sentence, but having any multiple number of word like bigram word or trigram word, which will help to understand the context of a sentence. So so that's why the in-gram analysis is done, which will help our work to invitation for the further work. So which will also determine the context of a sentence. Context of a sentence based on a like user gave any corpus consists of a sentence or a paragraph through which it will find out the context of by the way of bigram words or trigram words with the help of in-gram analysis. So that's why in our future work we proposed this data frame, which will make the TF-IDF value as well as through that we will make the in-gram analysis, which will give a dominancy between the unigram and the in-gram analysis, which will understand that how much it will help us to understand the context of a sentence and why bigram is better than unigram. To help out this point of view, through that we will make our data set, which will help us to make a corpus, which will make the helpful context of our work. And without being said, thank you for our work. And this is the reference. We are very helpful to the authors who make our work on the contrary help. And end of the day, we want to thank you. We want to say thank you to Ms. Tanaya Dash, Assistant Professor of Department of Computer Science Engineering at the University, for her constant support and encouragement and guidance, and the data we get from Monopathu for that we are really obliged for that, and we are grateful for their cooperation. And finally, we express our gratitude to all the members who are involved either directly for this completion of this project. And for the so we say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Anil, for a nice presentation by taking care of time constraints.
Thank you.
Can you tell me one thing? In the pre-processing, the information is hidden, right? So which
Hidden
algorithm?
how?
Yeah,
Hidden
which
how?
algorithms are used for data hiding or information?
No, ma'am. No. There is no data hiding portion, ma'am. There is a PDF. So in the Monopatro website, if you went for any domain, like we went for dowry data. So you will get the PDF documents. Okay. So here each and every PDFs are taken. From that PDF to text module, we take all the PDF, we convert the PDF to text. Okay. From the PDF to text, we take the most dominant word after removing the unnecessary word. Sir, ma'am, that's why there is a data hiding section.
Okay, but you have mentioned anywhere in the last slides, information hidden. Like
Information hidden.
Previously. Okay. Previous slide.
This slide. This slide.
I think in a pre-processor, information is hidden. Yeah, there only.
Okay,
Last but one. Last but one.
this one,
No, last, next.
this one,
Next one, next.
this.
Next. Yeah, here. What?
Okay.
Essential information hidden in the legal documents. So
Listen.
I'm curious to see which algorithms.
Oh, acha. Essential words means what we mean actually here. Like if legal documents is really tough to understand for a novice for us. So if we give the legal professional to understand, they will find out a paragraph or a sector or segment. They will find out what that this segment actually express, what their context of the segment. That's they find out. Like we went for what that want to say us, it will give us the segment of context of the segment. So that's why we want to say that essential words, because a context of a segment consists of course word. Like if we want to talk about a harassment or cruelty harassment. The cruelty harassment word exists in a segment. Like there is a segment where there is a word like cruelty harassment exists. So the legal professional can tell us this segment actually expresses the cruelty harassment. So how did he say that? He said that that's because this word is exist in that segment. So that's why our job is to find out the extract the essential words by count vectorization, and in future scope we will do the PFIDF or in approach. That's what I did.
Okay, thank you, Sorani. Over to
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Our next presenter is Pooja R. Makwana, and paper title is Bibliometric Analysis of Recent Research on Delay Tolerant Networks.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to share my screen.
Yes.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. So, myself, Pooja Makwana, working at Charatar University of Science and Technology, Gujarat. And my paper title is Bibliometric Analysis of Recent Research on Delay Tolerant Networks. So, delay or disruption tolerant networks are represented by sparse or mobile sensor networks with frequent disconnections and variable delays. So DTN has procured enormous popularity because of its application in challenged environments such as post-disaster scenarios, deep space communication, and interplanetary applications. And it is also useful in vehicular ad hoc networks. So basically, we have done a trend analysis of this particular area. So a trend analysis is a facet of technical analysis to predict the development of particular research area in future. So because DTN has become emerging research area in last few years, our objective behind this trend analysis is to explore recent scenario of work which has been carried out and predict the movement of this particular research area in future. So we have collected 134 research papers from different well-known journals and well-reputed conferences. And we have observed that recent evolution have encouraged various new researchers in these areas of TTN. So basically we have taken different criteria such as implementation criteria, its publishers criteria, its citations criteria, and we have represented all these things graphically. So our first graph interpretation is for simulation versus real world implementation. So out of all these papers, 85% of papers were implemented on simulators. So there are various simulators for particular delay tolerant network. These are opportunities network environment simulator, which is one simulator, NS2, NS3, PeerSim, and many more simulators they have used. So we have represented these simulations graphically that 15% papers out of our collection is implemented on real world scenarios. So there is a need to implement more more research papers on real world scenarios rather than the simulation. And another criteria which we have considered is a percentage of papers published by countries. So different countries have participated in the research area of relay tolerant networks. So maximum papers were published by India, followed by USA and China, and then other countries with 1%, 2%, 5%, and 4% of publications. Next is percentage of papers by publishers and citations per publishers. So we have considered these publishers: IEEE, Elsevier, Springer, Hindawi, Taylor, Francis, and Wiley publications. So out of all these publishers, IEEE has gained maximum uh, uh, amount of papers on this particular area. So the 51% of papers were from IEEE and 33% papers were from Springer, followed by the other publisher. And per publishers, we have also considered citations they have gained. So maximum citations are gained by IEEE and then followed by Springer, Elsevier, Wiley, ACM, and Taylor and Francis, and then other publishers. We have considered conference papers and journal papers. So out of our collection, 49% of papers were published in conference and 46% of papers were published in journals, and 4% of paper were published in book chapters and workshops. So we can say that the conference and journal papers are approximately similar, 49% and 46%. And then we have considered the number of authors who have published the papers with each other. So frequency of number of authors is varying from one authors to 8 authors. So maximum number of papers are published by 3 authors, followed by 31 papers, which is published by 2 authors, and it is followed by other number of authors. And we have considered different objectives which are taken care in that particular publication. So objective in this delay tolerant networks can be categorized in this 5 categorization. So one is survey, performance, security, routing, and energy efficiency. So maximum research is done in the area of performance, followed by improving the routing, followed by energy efficiency, security, and survey. So from here, researchers may conclude that the research in the area of security is to be done yet. And out of these objectives, they have gained citations. So maximum citations, obviously the maximum number of papers were published in the area of performance, and maximum citations are acquired by the performance, followed by routing, followed by security objectives, security, survey, and energy efficiency. So we have found out the paper efficiency, or you can say the paper ranking, based on the given equation, that efficiency is equal to citations of a paper divided by the duration which we have taken. So we have taken the papers from January 2019 to September 2021. So that is 32 months minus published months. So published months is the number of months from which paper has been published. So we have categorized all the 134 papers into 3 categories: high efficiency papers, low efficiency papers, and zero efficiency paper. So some of the papers which are having high efficiency are displayed on the screen. So all the papers having efficiency rank with more than 1 are considered as a high efficiency papers, and less than 1 to 0 efficiency is considered as a low efficiency papers, and all the papers which are having efficiency equal to 0, those are considered as a low efficiency paper. So basically our conclusion is that the most trending objective in this field of delay tolerant network are enhancement of performance, and routing. These objectives have also gained the highest number of citations. Out of various reputed researchers, IEEE have published the maximum number of papers, and IEEE have gained maximum number of citations as well, followed by the Springer. And from January 2019 to September 2021, countries which have contributed the most in this area are India, USA, and China. So in recent years, an upsurge of research has been noted in the area of relay-tolerant network, but it is observed that only 15% of research work has been carried out in the real world, which shows the further scope of work for researchers, students, and educators. Thank you.
Pooja, nice presentation, and hope it will help for the researchers to focus on which particular parameters.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Riddhi.
Yes, ma'am. Presenter is Vignesh Anand, and paper title is Oil Spill Detection in Ocean Using Deep Learning.
Yes, ma'am. Give me a minute. I'm sharing the screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes. I am Vignesh Anand, and along with me there are two more people, Arvind Patni and Dr. Suresh Sankaran, who have contributed in the paper titled as Deep Learning Based Predictive Maintenance for Oil Spill Detection. And these are the table of the contents for the PPT. Starting with the first thing is the problem statement. Like oil ships and offshore and oil platforms, like oil spill events have a huge economical loss in today's day-to-day time. So in this paper, we have tried to, like, using the ML models, trying to predict like if there is an oil spill or not. If there is an oil spill, then what are the preventive measures that can be taken beforehand in the maintenance of the ships and the equipment which carry the oil. So what we noted that that the traditional ML models have less accuracy as compared to the deep learning models. So we have tried to improvise that version in this paper. So the problem statement is like the satellite imaging, which is a SAR satellite you normally use for oil spill detection, and the ML models are deployed, and normal ML, traditional ML models used to deploy the announcement. The artificial neural networks, that is AI, and deep CNN models like DGCN were currently used for the oil spill detection, but there is no advantage in the deep CNN models used for achieving a higher accuracy and the feature detection of the dark formation of the oil spill extraction. The objectives of the paper were to extract and analysis the appropriate features, determining the oil spill detection using the deep CNN models, and developing an advanced deep learning model for the classification between oil spill and lookalike oil spill with less computations. And in the end, we have used explainable AI models for the visual explanations for the predictive image towards the deep CNN predictions. In the workflow projects, like, since there were no data sets available, we created the data sets using the web scraping technique, and then we have processed the data set, and which then has been used in the models. So the data set has been divided into three parts: the training, testing, and the validation part model. And since the data sets were available very less, so we had to use data augmentation methods. So you can see like 1,000 images of oil spill and 1,000 images of non-oil spill, which then converted to using the data augmentation to 1,000 images of oil spill and 2,000 images of non-oil spill. So this is the code base for the data augmentation. And this is a data set description. Like, there were 4,000 images that were used, and then it has been divided in three parts: training, testing, and validation. 1,400 oil spill images are in the training data set for oil spill, and 1,400 for non-oil spill images. Therefore, the training data set is 2,800 images. Testing data set has 300 oil spill images and 300 non-oil spill, leading to total of 6,000 images. Validation data set has 300 oil spill images and 300 non-oil spill images, and therefore it has total of 600 images, going to total of 4,000 images total. So the models that were reviewed for the implementation of simple CNN models to begin with, like the models were then hyper-tuned. So this is the hyper-tuned model that we have used. This is the code base for the hyper-tuned model. And these are the results that we gained from the simple CNN model. As we can see that training and the validation accuracy is quite near, and so we have a high accuracy for this model. And on the right hand side we have training and validation loss. And here is the loss and the epochs, which for the simple CNN model. And this is the classification report for the simple CNN model. And so we can see that we have here 99% of the models, 99% accuracy for a simple CNN model. And this is the hyperparameter tuning for simple CNN model, where the optimizer used for the item loading data is 0.001, loss function was sparse scatter cross entropy, metrics for the accuracy epochs 120, shuffle was kept true, and batch is 64. The next model that we reviewed was VGG19 model, in which we consist of 19 layers, like 16 convolutional, 3 fully and 5 maxful layers, and 1 max of layers. Like all other, there are different variants also for this, but we are using the 19 model. So the first 19 layers of VG19 models were not trained, and rest of the layers were used for the training. And so this is the code for the same. And this is the training and the validation accuracy, and the training and the validation loss for the VGG19 model. This is the loss versus epochs graph for training VG19 model. As you can see, that is like nearing to nearest accuracy, the model. And this is a classification report for VG19 model. And we have got here an accuracy of 99.5%. This is the hyper-tuning parameter tuning for VG19 model, where again the optimizer used was item, learning data is 0.001, loss function was sparse, categorical cost entropy, metrics for accuracy, epochs for 30, shuffling was true, and batch was 64. This is the Inception V3 model which we used. It's a free model for CNN, which has 48 deep layers. And this is the code base for the Inception V3 model. All these models were hyper-tuned, and therefore we have shown the code for the same. This is the training and validation accuracy model, and the training versus validation loss. Here is the Inception V3 model, loss versus epochs graph. And this is the precision classification report for the Inception V3 model, which again has a 99% of accuracy. And this is the hyperparameter tuning for the Inception V3 model. The next model which we use for exception model, which has a 71 deep layers, and it is an extension of an Inception architecture. This is the code base for the exception model. Again, it's been hyper-tuned. This is the graph for training versus validation accuracy and training versus validation loss. And this is the exceptional model for loss versus epochs. And this is the exception model for the classification report for the exception model, which has a again accuracy of 99.5%. And this is the hyperparameter tuning model hyperparameter tuning.
Sir, you have 2 minutes left.
This is the inception resonant model that we have used. This is the code base for the same. And this is the inception resonant model graphs, training and validation accuracy, and training and validation loss. So same is for the loss and the epochs. And we have an accuracy of 99.1% for the inception resonant V2 model. And this is the hyperparameter tuning for the same. Then we have done Denston 169 models, and again this is again the accuracy 99.6 for Denston 169 model, and this is the hyperparameter during the same. And the last model that we use the CNN LSTM model, which again has an accuracy of 99.6% in its classification report. So since like all the models that we saw has an accuracy of nearing 99%, therefore we use explainable AI method to get to know whether the model predictions are right or not. So for the same, what we have done is we have picked up one image from the image dataset of oil spill itself. This is the original image that we have used and as you can see the black area, like for same image has been used for oil spill and non-oil spill detection. So for oil spill detection, as you can see, the black area is the oil spill, and so it is being converted into red for the oil spill detection. The same image has been used for non-oil spill detection. So the red portion denotes in right hand side the non-oil spill image. And so conclusion is like we can line was used for the explainable AI methodology, and any model can be used for the same, but we have used the inception V3 model to interpret the oil spill areas and to detect whether the model has predicted or not. So the conclusion was like our models accuracy were right. We were able to predict it using the explainable AI method correctly. The oil spill non-spill area of images, and these are the reference papers that we used while making the paper.
Okay, thank you, Vignesh, for informative presentation. Have you checked your result with any other author results?
Ma'am, actually, the other author results are like not up to what we have done. They have like used VGG19 models, and till that only VGG16 model they have used, or they have only used for simple CNN models. But what we have done is the deep CNN model and the explainable AI part, which is an extension to their work. Secondly, ma'am, the data we can't actually the data set was not openly available, so we couldn't actually go for check with other people's results, ma'am.
Okay. And one more question: why you are preferred the CNN?
Ma'am, because CNN is because it helps in automatic feature extraction. The model itself extracts the features. That is why, and it leads to a more higher accuracy for the model. The previous models which we use, which other authors have used, are like ANN models, and so they are manually given the features, and therefore the accuracy is not that much accurate, ma'am. So that is the major reason why we are using the CNN and its different types, in order to improve the accuracy for the models.
Okay, thank you, Vignesh. Over to Richa.
Yeah, thank you. Our next presenter is Mansi Mahendru, and paper title is Exploratory Analysis of AI Automation in Various Horizons.
Good morning, ma'am. Let me share. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so good morning, everyone. This side Mansi is here to start with my presentation on the topic Exploratory Analysis of AI Automation in Various Horizons. So during my presentation, I like to cover these topics, which I'll explain you one by one in the coming slides. First of all, let me start with the introduction of my topic, like what exactly my topic is. My broad topic is regarding AI automation. And we all know that automation can go in collaboration with AI, like machine learning, deep learning, and it can give us better results rather than performing any operation manually. But we cannot say that automation is a new concept. If we roll back to 1800, there was one scientist, Shelley Springstein. He has developed one monster, and that monster is sensitive as well as emotional, and it can be a biggest example of having the artificial specimen in the world. And second example is we can only switch on one button and we can open our fan or air conditioner. That too comes under automation. But only difference is between the traditional automation and new generation automation, because in traditional automation all the processes are run by having a predefined number of rules. Means we define certain rules for them and then our machine will work accordingly. Means tasks are not competent. But if I'll talk about the new generation automation, the tasks are highly competent. That's the basic difference between today's automation and the traditional automation that I'm talking about. So now, what is the actual objective of my paper, my study, is to highlight the recent work that has been done regarding this AI automation in the demanding areas. And for this paper, I have only considered three demanding fields, that is AI automation in cybersecurity, AI automation in expert system, and AI automation in digital marketing. These are the three areas that I have basically referred in my paper, but there are still many more areas in which there is still many scope of improvement for our future researchers. But these are some areas in which less work has been done, and there are some gaps that are still left to overcome. And even there is lots and lots of scope of improvement for our future researchers. So as I already told you, my objective is to highlight the three demanding areas that requires AI automation. And my second objective is what techniques are used in the prior researches regarding this AI automation, and what are the gaps that are still left that need to be handled in future. So in the literature review, this section basically highlights the analysis of the current research papers or current research that has been done in this area. One is auto AI in cybersecurity, next is auto AI in expert system, and third one is auto AI in digital marketing. Okay, so my first review is regarding the auto AI in cybersecurity. Now, first I want to tell you why I took this cybersecurity, because in current time, the protection of the confidential information from cyber attacks is one of the crucial issue that needs to be resolved on an urgent basis. Most of the industries are only competitive in the market because they are not compromising with the customer privacy, customer confidential information, because we only refer or we only take that product or we only go to that organization who will not going to compromise with our security, because for me my security is the at most priority. So that is why automation is highly required in cyber security. But we also need to understand that how much automation is required, because we cannot trust on automated features 100%. We cannot trust on these type of automation. But so we have to understand that at what level automation is required. Okay, so these are my objectives. These are the factors that are covered in the paper, what technology they have used, what data set they have referred for their research, and what are the gaps that I identified from their papers. These are some of the papers that I referred. There are more papers that I have referred in research paper. I have written in research paper, but I have highlighted some here. Okay, so this is a kind of summary of gaps that I identified from all the paper. One is only few categories of attacks has been highlighted, like some malicious attacks, some direct attacks they have highlighted, but there are some more sophisticated attacks or some more severe attacks that needs to be highlighted in future, because we all know that as the technology is advancing, so we should also understand that attackers are also becoming more sophisticated. So they are also well trained, see how we can hack this password, how we can hack this account, etc. So we also have to get aware that attackers are also becoming more trained. And the size of the data set is also one issue that I feel, because I think the size of the data set should be very good. It should be more, so that overfitting and underfitting should not be there. So my second area is auto AI in expert system. And we all know expert system has given promising result in every area where some complex problem needs to get solved and some decision has to be taken. So this is the literature survey that I have done related to this auto AI in expert system. And these are some of the gaps that I found, that most of the prior research is based on descriptive approach. What I mean by this descriptive approach is, most of the paper that I found is related to the expert system, in which we have to define the rules, like if then statement, if else rules we have to design, and our machine will respond accordingly. But if any new problem will occur, then we have to define the rules, we have to construct the rule first, then only will our machine will going to take the action. This is kind of a descriptive approach. And data size is limited. Yes, what issue I found is that size of the data set is limited. But when I will going to start this project, in my future scope is to solve these problems and to resolve these gaps, then I will make sure that my data set should not be very small. My third area is auto AI in digital marketing. Why I took this digital marketing? Because we all know that before going to any market or any store, every user refers some online reviews, then only they start purchasing that particular product. Sorry. And even many organizations have started their business online, like Amazon, like everything. During this COVID, everything comes digitally in front of us, and we have accept it with our full happiness. So this digital marketing, it should be also automated, and along with the security of the customer. And this is the review that I have done after reading papers. And this is basically the gaps that I found, that customer centric approach is missing. What I found is that whatever automation they have done in their paper is totally company centric, means how company sale will increase, how company will get profit, but they have not talked about the customer centric approach, means how customer will come back to my website. That gap I found is missing, so I will try to overcome it in the future. And these are the results that I have plotted after reading papers, like what technology they have used and how much accuracy they are getting after these applying these algorithm. And the highest I am getting from BRB framework and this IoT, as well as this fuzzy. But the disadvantage of this BRB and fuzzy is also that descriptive approach, because this BRB stands for belief rule based framework network. And it also basically it is a descriptive approach where we have to construct certain amount of rules for the machine, and machine will act accordingly. And same with this fuzzy logic. So this is the gap that I have found, and I really want to overcome this gap in future. And this is my conclusion and future scope. My first conclusion is intelligent use of AI techniques can reduce the load of humans in great extent. And there are some issues with automation that needs to be addressed in future for sure, that I already told you that are my gaps. And my future scope is to solve more complex problems and to overcome these gaps that I have told you. And these are the references, and my all references are from the year 2019 to 2022, because I have referred only the current research that has been done related to these fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Mansi, for nice presentation on the demanding topic. Can you elaborate little bit in IoT technique which we are used in your work?
I have not used this IoT technology. I have just reviewed it, but I have not focused on this IoT because my area is towards the software. So I am not.
So in the softwares, which algorithms you are focused?
Ma'am, actually, I am basically focused about the explainable AI, in which I don't have to design a predefined rules for anything. I want that my machine will uh, trained with its experience and will take decision accordingly. Means because if any complex problem will be there, then it is not possible for me to design a thousand of rules for my machine for everything, for if and then I cannot construct it. And one more issue I found with this BRB framework is that if I want to use this BRB na, then its parameters needs to be optimized first, then only we can use this BRB framework. So that's why I want I should go with explainable AI in future.
Okay, thank you, Mansi. Over to Richa.
Thank you, Mansi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, our next presenter is Neha Dalwadi. In paper title is Performance Analysis of Wireless Modes in IoT.
Good morning, all.
Good morning, ma'am. You may please start your presentation. Yeah.
Good morning, all of you. Myself is Neha Dalwadi, and my co-author and guide is Dr. Mamta Padole. We are going to present on performance analysis of wireless modes in IoT. These are the contents that we are going to discuss. And the IoT, the Internet of Things technologies, whenever the applications are building, we have to focus on the efficiency of applications also. And the paper focuses on this objective only, that while building an efficient applications in IoT, one should know the efficiency and technologies used in it. One of the core component of IoT application is wireless mode that comprises set of sensors, microcontrollers, RF transceivers, memory, etc., which affects the performance of the IoT applications. There are vast number of modes available, and with the variety of capabilities it is available. So it is difficult to know, and it is difficult to decide which type of mode one should use for that application so that it may give efficient performance in terms of power consumption and memory usage. So paper discusses about the different types of modes available with their capabilities and performance analysis. This will also help to identify suitable mode for the IoT application and the performance evaluation. The objective is to choose an appropriate wireless technology and communication devices for while building an IoT applications and measuring the capabilities of the modes, because each mode has a specific role and impact on the performance of the application. For example, the applications such as the armed forces inspections, which requires the reliable and secured connectivity within the network, and it may consume the more power. While other type of applications like environment monitoring, agriculture monitoring, this may require less security and there is no need of full-time connectivity of modes. So it depends on the application requirement that which type of modes we have to use and which type of technologies we need to use while building an application so that it may give a power efficient and memory efficient performance. We have analyzed a set of components of the modes. For example, sensors, which comprises the power and conserves the power while sensing the data. Processor, which have different processing power, energy consumption, operate on different voltage, that supports external devices and with available with different cost. For example, more data analysis and local data processing requires faster CPU, while other applications in which data are simply sent on cloud, which may require sufficient CPU processing only. Another component is a battery, which is used for power supply. And there are three types of batteries available: alkaline, lithium, and nickel metal hydride. The one alkaline is economical and consumes more power. It operates at the high power voltage, and there may be chances of that whichever sensors we are going to use, which are not able to operate at high voltage. So at that time, we have to focus that which type of battery, which type of mode we have to use, which can support these sensors also. Another one is a lithium, which comes in a small size and works with constant voltage. It is better than alkaline, but having low discharge of current and unable to drive the mode which requires more current. Third one is a nickel metal hydride. It can be easily recharged and generate only 1.2 volt. So some mode operate at more voltage, which requires another type of battery. So while choosing a battery power also, we have to focus that which battery is suitable for our application. While developing IoT application, not only hardware part is important, one needs to choose dynamic OS also, that is operating system, to drive the hardware platform effectively. An operating system that requires less overhead on hardware and runs with low power should be used. There are many real-time operating systems available, such as Contiki operating system, Free RTOS, RIoT, Tiny operating system, etc. Some of them are compatible with some modes to support low power mode of the operations. We have analyzed and worked with the Contiki operating system with Uja emulator, which supports maximum number of modes.
Change the slide.
Yes. And able to analyze their performance. The Contiki OS is a lightweight open source event-driven operating system, real-time OS, which features proto-threads. Proto-thread supports less memory. It works on the C and partial C++ code. It supports set of hardwares like AVR-based, ARM-based processor, MSP 430 devices. It supports two emulators, Kuja and MSP Sim, and tool, CollectView tool. CollectView tool is used to analyze the performance live. This is the protocol stack of the Contiki on which the code is working. Network layer protocol are COPE, UDP, TCP, RPL, 6LoWPAN. MAC layer protocol is CSMA and CA. RDC layer protocol is Contiki MAC, CXMAC, XMAC, and radio layer protocol is IEEE 802.15.4. So while building an IoT application, which criteria we have to focus? So these are the design considerations which affects the performance. One is a power consumption. In power consumption, we need to know how much power consumption is nominal for our application to run it effectively. Microcontroller, we should have a sufficient processing power and be able to operate at low power. Third one is RF module. RF module is radio frequency module. The lifetime of a node depends on the RF module because its efficiency depends on the transmitting and receiving range of the RF module. So we have to decide based on it, because in many applications, so the nodes are power hungry nodes, which requires to make availability of the residual energy at an enormous amount. Third one is a scalability. Each mode has a limited amount of storage and that can handle the sensor data and processing power for communication. It is required to analyze which type of sensors and how many sensors can be mounted on a single mode to work it reliably and efficiently. And the last one is heterogeneity and interoperability. This is the current research area because in IoT, while building an IoT application, there may be a chances of how the application will work in heterogeneous environment. So we have to keep in mind the compatibilities of IoT devices, network services, and data processing while developing an heterogeneous application.
Ma'am, you have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, we have done comparison of available modes in Kuja emulator in terms of data rate, RF module, processing power, security, memory, and current consumption, supported OS, etc. We have done experiment on the CUJA emulator with the Contiki operating system. These are the configuration parameters. We have taken a random topology and the same topology applied for all types of mode to evaluate the performance. We have taken the 3 modes and radio transmission range is 50 meter. The CUJA emulator is used to evaluate performance of Sky mode, Z1 mode, AXP5438, and WIS mode. The power tracer tool of the CUJA is used to calculate the power consumption of each type of mode during this transmission and reception of message and amount of time radio is on. So this is the formula that we have applied. Depends on the mode data set. The value of current and voltage will be different to calculate the power consumption at each mode. This is the screenshot of CUJA emulator. These are the results of power consumption at Sky mode 1, 2, and 3. This is the performance analysis of the power consumption. As we can see here, the green line indicates the EXP5438. In each image, we can see that the EXP5438 consumes more power than the other 3 modes, while the Sky mode consumes double power than the Z1 mode. So overall performance of the Z1 and WIS mode is very good compared to Sky and EXP5438. Average power consumption here. Also, we can see that Z1 and WIS mode gives the average power consumption at all modes is better than the other 2, Sky and EXP5438. Another one is memory usage analysis. While building an application, memory is also a main part. How much memory requires for this type of applications? So here we can see that in CUJA emulator, there is a provision of to analyze the memory. The text section shows the size of the program stored in ROM, and data and BSS section shows the size of the memory consumed in the RAM. So this is the overall analysis of all 4 modes. Here, WIS mode consumes less size, and EXP5438 also consumes less size than the other 2 modes. The conclusion is, among the discussed modes and analysis, the Z1 and WIS modes are more efficient than the Sky and EXP5438 in terms of power consumption and memory usage analysis. It was also observed that due to the different microcontrollers, but with the same radio frequency module, the processing power is different, and hence the mode's performance is also given the different output. So it is better to analyze the mode's performance before choosing a particular mode for our application. These are the references. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha, for informative presentation. Z1 is having any limitations?
No, ma'am.
Okay, not a single limitation.
In terms of?
See, you are mentioned with the help of parameters, memory, as well as power. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 methods, WIS mode and the Z1 are the reliable, right?
Yeah.
So you have to just find out, is there any limitations of these systems? Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Over to Richa.
Okay, so our next presenter is RS Jisendra Kumar, credit card fraud detection using machine learning algorithms.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning.
My presentation is visible.
Sir, we are running out of time, so please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are the team of 3 members. So Abhishek and Kunal Kumar and myself, Jisendra Kumar. So we made a project of credit card fraud detection using the machine learning algorithms. So we take the base paper of an intelligent approach to credit card fraud reduction using an optimized light grading boosting machine. So in the year of 2020, we take the base paper using the IEEE transactions on the credit card fraud reduction. So the major abstract of our project is that nowadays in modern technology, the most of the transactions are being based upon the cashless transactions. So in this case, the major of the transaction may be get into fraud reduction, fraud transactions, since the customer details of customer card details has been given to has been hacked, or without their knowledge they taken the information of the credit card. So there may any fraud transaction without the user knowledge. So we come up with an idea of getting that parameters of F1 score, precision, and support to get the accuracy whether the transaction is being fraud or non-fraud transactions. So we get the approach of detecting the credit card using the machine learning algorithms like multi-layer perceptron, navy bias, Bernoulli, and random forest. So the detection of the fraud transaction has nowadays become very high. So we made into the this project. So initially the credit card card details may given to the without the customer knowledge. There may be any leakage of information. So the thief can get the information and they can make the transaction without the customer knowledge. So in order to get the to keep our credit card information should be private. So we should not leak our informations like credit card PIN number or credit card number to our families, friends, or like that. So we do not in order to secure our credit card. So we have different ways. So we should keep our credit card details should be private with us. We should not upload any information to the to websites or something like that. So these are some literature papers we referred for our projects. Okay, so the major issue is due to the online payments. So without the customer knowledge, the transaction may be get into fraud. So we discover the respective special interest to reduce the fraud transactions. So we are, as I said, we use the parameters of F1 score, recall, accuracy for our algorithms to make to get the accuracy high to find out the transaction is whether it is a fraud or non-fraud. So in the existing system, it includes the transaction of data of ones that to turn out of to be a fraud. So in ancient times, the maybe maximum of the transaction is giving the cash to the vendors or someone. So nowadays, the modern technology leads to the online payments. Due to the online payments only, there may be an interruptions of fraud transaction by the thieves or some other persons. So we majorly they major in the existing system. They majorly focus on analyzing and pre-processing the data. So there may be a multiple anomaly of methods they used in the algorithms like local outlier factor and the isolation forest algorithms. They also use the PCA transformed transaction data for getting the accuracy whether the transaction is fraud or not. So the major drawback is in the existing system is that unbalancing of the data. So there may be a chance when we overload the test data into the algorithms. So there may be an occurrence of making the fraud as non-fraud and non-fraud as fraud transaction that may be an occur. So that is one of the major drawback in that existing system. So there are also an low detection accuracy and the low detection while getting into the transaction whether it is fraud or not. So the detection strategy also needs to take into accounts for some peculiarities for the fraud detection. So the identification of fraud transactions are less than one with comparable to that all transactions. So in our system, we use the Gaussian navy Bayes and Bernoulli navy Bayes and the random forest algorithms to get the maximum accuracy to find out that the transaction may be fraud or non-fraud to the customers. So since that outlier factor has not provided any accurate results, so since we go on with the factors of precision, accuracy, recall, F1 score, to get the accuracy more accurate and with that high speed to get our results. So in our system, the MLP method, that is the multi-layer perceptron method, has been used. In addition, with the major use of algorithms are Gaussian naive Bayes, Bernoulli, random forest algorithms to get our things to be detected for the transactions. So after that, we also use the model preparation, and we also get the model layout, and we have after that we only judge the part of the critical transactions being for the inquiry. So so in our case, the advantages of our algorithms to get the high accuracy rate and with the high speed of getting the transaction, whether it is fraud or non-fraud. So in our proposal system, that we achieved the high performance range in terms of accuracy. It also the important one is that we get the efficient optimization strategy for enhancing the performance of our proposed approaches like naive Bayes and other things. So this is our block diagram. So initially we get the data sets by using the Kaggle of European bank data. We get the data sets, and we are using the pre-processing method. We get the duplicate data and the unfilled data, and we get the future extractions up to 30 like amount, time, transaction, and a different kind of transactions like whether they're purchasing or something, or the transferring money to some other friends, families, and like that. We have 28 futures, 30 futures. So after getting the future extraction, we use the ML model, and after that we use the classifications of algorithms like Gaussian naive Bayes, Bernoulli naive Bayes, and the random forest to get the accuracy of each algorithm, and we are comparing, and we are getting into to the which one will give the accuracy more to find out the transaction will be fraud or non-fraud. So we, as I said, we use these algorithms.
Sorry for the interruption, sir. You have
okay.
4 minutes left, right?
Okay, sure. Okay. So, okay. So majorly we use this algorithms of naive Bayes and Gaussian naive Bayes and random forest. So the naive Bayes is taken to get the binary values of that data set. So the Bernoulli will take out to the futures to assume the binary value given by the naive Bayes. So we also use the discrete data to get the binary form. So we use the Gaussian naive Bayes and Bernoulli for getting the deals with the continuous data and uses of data sets. The random forest is used major since it gives the high accuracy, because it makes upon it builds the decision trees, and we get the by using the cross validation, it provides the higher accuracy to get the transaction whether it is fraud or non-fraud. So these are the softwares we use, like my Python Colab. So initially we are getting that transaction amount, transaction time based upon that data set. So then we use that naive Bayes algorithm get that accuracy level. So we use the parameters of these precision, recall, F1 score, and the support. So likewise, the Bernoulli also used for getting that accuracy levels. So since in accordance with these algorithms, so random forest will give the accuracy when compared with that two algorithms. So based upon that, so since the random forest give the more accuracy, we use the confusion matrix to get the statistical method of of particular transaction, whether it's just a fraud or non-fraud, to give the probability of the transactions to which will be high, means that it will be a fraud or non-fraud. The customers can easily know. So this is the conclusion part. There will be some imbalance in the data set. So we already make the data set to balance, and we can get the accuracy to about 0.89% of the transactions which we load into that data sets. So this will, we are in future we are making to use the some more algorithms to make our accuracy high to get the prediction as a fraud or non-fraud. So these are the reference sections we taken from some other authors. So we usually made to get the recent time papers of up to 2019 to 2021. Yeah, that's all. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Jisanthiya. What is the maximum accuracy you are achieved with your system?
So we are able to acquire about 0.9% out of 1.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
May I just take just 2 seconds, ma'am? This is Dr. Mamta Padole from the previous presentation. Actually, I got breathless, so I would just like to explain your query. Z1 modes are not comfortably interoperable. So in a heterogeneous network, they are not very compatible with the other networks. Otherwise, as far as power consumption and the other details are there, they are equally good.
That's all that I would say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Sorry, actually Neha is on
Yeah,
maternity.
I can understand. No
Yeah,
problem, ma'am.
So she
Okay.
got breathless and she couldn't answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. So all the presentations are done. So I sincerely thank our all authors for their great presentation and their contribution to this session. And I also thank our all participants in participating in this conference. I hope this session was informative enough to all. We on behalf of whole team, thank you so much for your support in this version and previous 6 version, and we happy to have you in the 8th version of this conference in 2023. So all the presenter would be getting their digital certificates through the email within 2 or 3 working days. Further, all the papers are already forwarded to the stranger, and publication will be live within 5 to 6 months. So please kindly cooperate with the team of ICT4SD. And on behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and Team ICT4SD, I would like to thank our chair of the session, Professor Ladika Desai. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable presence and your information that you have shared with the presenter. So it is a token of your appreciation on behalf of our whole team.
Thank you, Richa.
Yeah. Can you please, ma'am, say something about this session?
Yes, all authors are presented the papers very nicely. Just I want to give one submission, that is everyone has to go till a day for your literature survey. You have to involve. Okay.
Yes.
So that is my submission. And
okay, ma'am. Thank you for your suggestion, ma'am. Yeah. At the end of the session, I would like to request to all please turn on the camera for our quick snapshot of this virtual camera conference. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much to all. Thank you, ma'am. Take care. Goodbye.
thank you.